Hi, honeys. Welcome to Books Cause Insomnia. My name's Michelle, and today I just love book tags. I think they're really fun. And today I'm doing one. That's my cat again. My cat Marty is just crazy. He's into everything. If you've been watching this page for very long, which, well, it's a new page, but he loves being in videos. Do you want to come up and say hi real quick? I know you don't always like it when I hold you, but just say hi. No? Okay. That's Marty, though. That's who you're hearing. Today I'm doing a book tag called Spring Has Sprung. And if you decide to do this, please let me know because I want to watch your video as well. I will put the questions down in the description box so that you can answer, or so that you can do one of these yourself. Or if you don't have a YouTube page, you're welcome to answer any of these questions and put those down in the comments too. Flowers. Look on your bookshelves. What is the most beautiful book, both inside and out? Inside and out? A beautiful book. Well, this one's super simple, but I think it's pretty. This is called Follow Your Heart by Susanna Tamaro. This is, I'd have to reread it. I haven't read it in about 5 years now, but this, in my mind, this is my favorite book of all time. It's about a woman who knows that she's going to pass away soon, and she writes a letter to her granddaughter, who she raised, about all the lessons that she learned in life and some of the truths that she might have not told her. And it's just such a beautiful book. It's just so moving and loving to do that for someone. So I guess this would be my answer. Grass. What is a book that you find that others like way more than you do? Way more than I do? This one I just happen to have sitting right next to you because I just did a video about this where the Crawdads sang, I didn't care for this book, and everybody loves it, but I don't. Sorry. Rain. What is a book that lifts your spirits when you're down? A book that lifts my spirits when I'm down? Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I just think this is a fun, sweet book, and it does cheer me up. Do. What's a book that made you feel alive? Ooh, a book that made me feel alive? It's a nice question. Back here. I'm going to move this out of the way so I can see what was behind it. Let's see. Okay, I found one, but now I have to get to it. Paint It Black by Janet Fitch. Have you ever read this book? There's something about it that does make me feel very alive. This book, it's funny because my grandma actually got me into reading Janet Fitch books. She gave me White Oleander, which I loved, and then, I don't think she gave me this one. I think this one I went ahead and bought. It's about this girl whose boyfriend commits suicide, and she has to deal with his mother. And I haven't read it in quite a while, so I'm a little rusty on what it was completely about, but I remember it being about having control of one's life and how we can let people control us and how we make excuses for them. There was so much about strength and creativity in here that it really did make me feel alive. There was just something very beautiful about it, kind of like watching clouds move in the sky on a windy day, if that makes sense. It just was very wistful and beautiful. Just put that on the top for now here. What's a book that you found unpredictable? Okay, one of my favorite books is Winter Counts, and this is by David Heska Wombley Wyden. And I did not see the end coming, but I loved this book. And I think that there's more books coming out, I think. Or am I just wishful thinking? I'm not sure. But I want more books to come out. David, if you're watching, could you please write another book? Thanks. Rainbow. What was a book that you struggled with only to be happy that you read it in the end? Oh, I immediately know what book. Let's see if I get this out of here too. Got so many books stacked up over here. I'll have to clean that up later, but The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Not sure. I had a hard time with this book in the beginning of it. I don't know if you've read this, but there's a very slow part that everybody goes, oh yeah, I know. Once I got through that part though, oh, I loved it. There's parts of it that will always stick with me. And it also really stuck with me how important it is to just forgive and move on. Not just for you know, it's not about forgiving the person that wronged you. It's about making your life better and happier and making the quality of your life better, and just how important it is to just let things go. I guess I don't want to give anything away if you haven't read it, but of the classics, this is one that I would recommend that people really read. It's so good. It's just, if you're bored and it's slow, just stick with it though, because this is one that you don't want to give up on. Chilly Weather. What's a book that you couldn't finish or didn't enjoy? A book I couldn't finish or didn't enjoy. Well, I just mentioned the Crawdads Sing book, but let's see, is there anything else that I didn't? Oh, well, speaking of another classic here, 1984. I finished it, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. It scared the crap out of me. It was horrifying, and a lot of it's starting to happen, so that scared me even more. But this is another one though that I think everybody should read. It was a good book. It was worth reading, but I don't know that I enjoyed it just because it was so scary. Warm Weather. What's a book that you loved and wanted more of? Ooh, that I loved and wanted more of. Oh, right off the bat. Okay, hold on. Let me move my brain out of the way here. I don't know if you've seen this. This is a concrete brain that I made. I know, I was a psychology major in school, and I just kind of, I don't know, get into stuff like that. But Later by Stephen King, I really wanted more of this book. I loved it. I hope that there's more to come. There probably isn't, though. I think he meant to have this be a short story, but Be Still My Beating Heart. I loved this book, and I wanted it to go on for 1,000 pages. I really did. All right, I'm going to leave my brain on the floor. That sounded weird. Just in case there's more books in this stack that I want to dig out. Okay. Green. What's a book that you haven't read yet but really want to? Ooh, actually, I put some of my to be read extremely soon books up on top of my bookshelf. This is the top of the bookshelf up here. And then I put my other TBRs over here on this side. So this Emma book, I have not actually read it yet. I did do a couple of videos on my main channel about a year ago where I read a chapter of the book when I was working on some voice acting stuff. And so I did read the first 3 or 4 chapters, and I really was getting into it, and then no real reason, I just haven't finished it yet. But back to the point. A book I haven't read yet, but I really want to. This book here, A Troubling Star by Madeleine L'Engle. This is the 5th book in the Austen Family Chronicles. And this was on my main page before I got my own booktube page, but I read, where is it? Do I not have it in here? Oh, I don't have it in here. Okay. Well, I read A Ring of Endless Light, which was the 4th book in the series, which was a book that I loved as a teenager, and I decided to read the next book in this series. I'm really excited to read it. I don't know when I'll get to it, though. Sometimes with booktube, I have certain schedules I try to stick with, and it makes it hard sometimes to read certain books. They don't fit my schedule. Pink. What's a book in which you felt a strong connection to the characters? Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I got really attached to some of these characters. I really loved pretty much every character in this book, even the ones that we should hate. I loved things about them too, which is pretty impressive. He's really got some good character development. But I guess that's no surprise since he's Stephen King's son. Whew, I really love this book, and I love the characters in it. I think about the characters in that book a lot, which is pretty impressive. Purple. What's a book that when you read it, you felt safe? A book that made me feel safe? I'm just going to grab one of these off the shelf. Krista Davis has a book series called A Domestic Diva Mystery. And all of these books make me feel very safe and cozy. I know that sounds weird because they're cozy mysteries, meaning they're murder mysteries, but there's something about the town. They take place in Alexandria, the people in it, the coziness of the main character. Her name is Sophie. She's got this cozy home that I feel like I live in. I feel like I've even drawn floor plans of what I think the house looks like in my book journal. I know it's kind of, I do that. Do you do that? Do you draw the inside of homes and books, or that what you think the town looks like? Or this book, I also have the street. I've got like a little map of like where each character lives on this street. It's this thing I do, especially with books like this where I've been reading this whole series for years. There's a new book in the series coming out at the end of this month, and I'm so excited. It comes out right near my birthday too, at the end of May. Happy birthday to me. So I can't wait to get the next book. But I feel very safe and kind of like in this warm, cozy, safe little bubble or something when I read these books. Just love them. So not this book in particular, but the whole series makes me feel that way. And that is what you see back here behind this candle. I've got the whole series back here. Orange. What book do you feel is intelligently written? Intelligently written, huh? Psychology and Alchemy by Carl Jung. Have you ever read Carl Jung? Carl Jung is the kind of, he's a psychologist, and he has this way of writing that is very intelligent, but very mentally stimulating and hard to understand at the same time. I really recommend reading his books if you're into psychology and spirituality and kind of what it all means, or if you like dream interpretations, that kind of stuff. There's a lot to his books. Now, this is just one of his writings. I have another one somewhere that I had bought when I was in college. This one I actually had my husband Brad get. And this one is, let's see. It's 483 pages long. It's got a bunch of references to things that have happened, and it's got a bunch of imagery in it. It is really good. But yes, this is definitely a heady book. Did it even make sense what I was saying there? It was kind of, this book is so confusing though that it's hard to even describe it without being confusing. And the last question is yellow. What book puts a smile on your face? Ooh, a smile on my face. This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper. If you read this, it was made into a movie. The movie is nowhere near as good as the book. What else is new? I mean, the movie was fun, but it's just something about the book was so much better in my personal opinion. This book is about a guy named Judd whose father passes away. And he's Jewish, and he has to go home for a week. It's to sit Shiva. Okay. So he has to spend 7 days and nights under the same roof as his whole family. There's so much heartache in this book, but the way that the author writes is so funny that I couldn't help but laugh constantly. And so it does make me feel very happy and uplifted. And by the end of the book, I felt happy as well. It's actually really good. If you haven't read it, I really recommend it. The synopsis on the back really words it nice. As long-standing grudges resurface, secrets are revealed, and old passions are reawakened. This is a riotously funny, emotionally raw novel about love, marriage, divorce, family, and the ties that bind, whether we like it or not. So good. I really did love this book. I've read it 2 or 3 times. I know I read it more than once, but I am one of those, I guess what you would call book monogamists, where I do reread books a lot if I love them. Well, that's it for my Spring Has Sprung book tag. Please let me know if you read any of the books that I mentioned and what you think of them. And if there's any tags that you would like to see me do, please don't hesitate to let me know, because I love book tags. And if there's any books that you're hoping I might read and review, let me know that too. I'm not saying I definitely will read them, but I will consider it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. I love you. Bye.